In 1979, a major revolution shook the Islamic world. It wasn't just about toppling the Shah and changing Iran's system of governance. It came with a broader and more profound mission, exporting what it called the Islamic Revolution under the banner of Wilayat al-Faqih, guardianship of the Islamic jurist, in preparation for the arrival of the Mahdi, the awaited savior in Twelver Shia belief. Iran relied heavily on soft power, and its goal was to penetrate social structures, shift local loyalties, and build a global network devoted to Tehran. The objective? To enhance Iran's influence and position itself as a major regional and global power broker. This may seem like a natural expansion in regions with an existing Shia population, but when Iran targets religiously homogeneous Sunni societies, it becomes a project of deep infiltration, revealing ambitions to fracture national and religious unity in the broader Islamic world. Exporting the revolution. From the very first moments of its victory, Iran declared that its revolution would not remain confined within its borders. Exporting the Islamic Revolution was not just a propaganda slogan. It became an official state policy. Iran established a global network that included religious seminaries and schools, cultural and media centers, charitable organizations, funding channels disguised as religious outreach. But Iran did not always intervene directly. Instead, it relied on local proxies, individuals who embraced its ideology and served its agenda. And in Nigeria, a Sunni-majority country with critical geopolitical importance, Iran found its ideal agent, Ibrahim Zakzaky, the man who would become its ideological face in West Africa. Nigeria before Shiaism. Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa. Roughly 50% of its population is Muslim, the vast majority of whom follow the Sunni Maliki school, with deep-rooted Sufi influences shaping a harmonious and unified religious landscape for generations. But that sectarian harmony wouldn't last for long. Until the late 1970s, Shia Islam had virtually no presence in Nigeria. That changed with the arrival of the Iranian Revolution. As Iran began executing its expansionist strategy across Africa, Nigeria became one of its most critical targets. Iran focused its efforts on educated youth, sensing a desire for change, particularly among university students. Through revolutionary slogans and shared causes like resistance, oppression, and Palestine, Tehran found fertile ground. With promises of scholarships, financial incentives, and logistical support, Iran successfully began to penetrate student circles, offering not just education, but an ideological transformation. And thus, the seeds of Shia political Islam were planted in a land that had never known them before. The rise of Zakzaky. Among those influenced youth, one figure emerged prominently, Ibrahim Zakzaky, born in Zaria in 1953. Initially active in Sunni Islamic movements, Zakzaky visited Iran shortly after the revolution. When he returned, he was radically transformed. Zakzaky embraced the doctrine of Wilayat al-Faqih, establishing a new movement, the Islamic movement in Nigeria, IMN. Zakzaky quickly evolved from a mere preacher into Iran's ideological and political representative in West Africa. His movement soon mirrored Lebanon's Hezbollah, becoming not only a religious entity, but a powerful social and political force as well. As Zakzaky's influence grew, the Nigerian government began to perceive him as a serious threat. Key milestones in Zakzaky's conflict with Nigeria. 1998. First major clash with police, signaling the government's concern over Zakzaky's growing influence and political ambitions. 2015. Zaria massacre, violent confrontation resulting in over 300 deaths. Zakzaky and his wife arrested. A decisive government effort to curb potential Hezbollah-like political power. 2021. Zakzaky released after 6 years, marking cautious coexistence amid ongoing international pressures and human rights concerns. Despite Zakzaky's imprisonment, Iran's project in Nigeria did not stop. Support continues through cultural centers, educational scholarships, religious funding. Zakzaky's movement was never limited to religious rituals. Events like Ashura became tools for mass mobilization and political messaging, using large-scale processions, resistance-themed slogans, sectarian political speeches. The movement also provided social services to the poor in exchange for loyalty. While this boosted its popularity, it also deepened sectarian divisions in Nigerian society. Another layer of Iran's influence came through the Lebanese Shia diaspora. Since the early 20th century, Lebanese Shia families migrated to West Africa, especially Nigeria and Senegal, seeking trade and economic opportunities. Over time, some of these families grew into powerful economic and social actors in their new communities. Yet a portion of this diaspora maintained ideological and financial ties to Hezbollah and Iran. They became a cultural and logistical bridge, quietly facilitating Iran's deeper penetration into Nigerian society. In February 2025, Ibrahim Zakzaky appeared in Beirut during the funeral of Syed Hassan Nasrallah, the Secretary General of Hezbollah, who was killed in an Israeli airstrike in late 2024. The funeral was massive, attended by key regional figures, officials, and leaders of resistance movements. Zakzaky praised Nasrallah, calling the event a rebirth of Lebanese resistance. But his presence wasn't merely symbolic. It was a powerful signal of the deep and strategic relationship between the Islamic movement in Nigeria, IMN, and Hezbollah. What began as cultural and religious exchange has evolved into a dangerous geopolitical project. The IMN is no longer just a local religious group. It has become an instrument of Iran's foreign policy in West Africa. These movements operate under the guise of faith, charity, and education. But over time, they generate parallel loyalties, erode state authority, and threaten national identity. The danger lies not only in ideology or weapons, but in the slow fragmentation of national unity.